people think that trans women are only pretending to be women.
If you are a trans woman, then you are probably a sex worker.
Raise your voices, like share your narratives. Like that's why I love these dialogues that we're doing, because the more we share our stories, the more people will hear what we actually experience.
How to handle misconceptions from men towards trans women. I believe that in the world of dating, where before we jump into the world of dating, the world, generally speaking, has already a lot of misconceptions towards trans women. Not to mention that people think that trans women are only pretending to be women. That's already a very common misconceptions to the world. Now let's get into dating. When we go to online dating sites, a lot of men sees trans women as mere sexual objects. A lot of men sees trans women as someone who is just after for money. Right off the bat. A lot of men sees trans women as someone or people who work in the adult industry. I mean, nothing wrong with our trans sisters who are working in the adult industry, but I can also understand where our trans sisters are coming from if they are being generalized as such and they are not really doing that, or they are not really part of the adult industry. So how do you handle misconceptions from men towards trans women? How do you accept, how do you process these kinds of thoughts from people that you're hoping to have a relationship with? Because we're talking about dating. We're talking about people who wanted to get to know them.
Growing up, the misconception that I encountered, or that was a bit popular, was that if you are a trans woman, then you are probably a sex worker. I didn't see that misconception directed towards me when I was in the Philippines, because I was pretty much working in corporate. So I never heard those types of comments. Not until I moved to Europe. Because majority, it's not really directed towards you, but because probably majority of them have not seen a trans woman living an ordinary life, a plain Jane type of trans woman, you hear those snide remarks. Not in a way probably to hurt you or probably to cross your boundary or inflict something, but that misconception is very alive. I would say that these misconceptions now, I see it as an opportunity to teach, an opportunity to provide space for someone to know that not all trans women live, or not all trans women work in the industry of adult sex work. So to me, I look at it from that angle, a space of, okay, this person does not know a lot. Probably is my opportunity, if I have the emotional stamina, to tell someone that, that's not right. I would assume dating would eventually become an person-to-person conversation over a lovely dinner. That's how I look at dates. So even before it even arrive to that point where you meet that person, I think it's important to get to know the person before that, who you're talking to. The type of questions this person is asking, the type of comments this person is making, even through chat, that will give you a good profile as to whether this person is just here to fulfill his fetish, or he's here to have something long-lasting and something worthwhile with you. That's bigger than sex itself. You get what I mean? This person looks at you as a person, not as a commodity. So to me, even before meeting the person, we have to know who we're talking to and who we're meeting. Because the moment that the person looks at you as a sex worker, would you like to meet that person or no? Right? It's your
Absolutely.
decision, really. It's your decision. So if this person had been giving comments that are off, that are disrespectful, then why would you even meet that person? So I think having a space and time to get to know the person more, what the person's values are. The moment we get to know the person more, the more we know who we will be meeting in person. And don't expect that that person will change. Get to know the person more. So if the person sees you as a sex worker at a get-go, that person won't change his mind. So might as well move on to the next and not even meet that person.
I love this topic because that's one thing for me that made me really thought about my advocacy of being a trans woman. And please don't get me wrong, we respect all our sisters, whether they're a sex worker or not. I have my own personal friends who works in the sex working industry, and I respect them for what they do. But in reality, like in 2024 now, trans women are so diverse. Like you can actually see it now from here. Like Mackie is a former beauty queen pageant and now doing her own advocacy work for the My Transgender Date. Paulie is an amazing wellness coach. And I also am an entrepreneur, like doing so it's a diverse of trans women. It's not just sex workers. The narratives that we share, the experiences that we all share, is so important to let people know, especially men, especially people who is not part of our community. They don't know that we are so diverse. We have so many different careers now, and it's not just sex working.
I would like to see it from a co-founder's point of view of a dating site and who runs a dating site. I can completely understand why it's quite negating for trans sisters to receive misconceptions like this, because not everyone are advocate. Let's just be clear about that. Not everyone, not all trans women who are so strong and tells you about our rights and our needs. There are trans women who are just living their life as trans women as normal as possible. And so I can understand why it's a bit, why they're taking it negatively and it's offensive. My key takeaway here is that I can understand that it's negative, but don't take it negatively, because it would be an opportunity for you again to educate where you are coming from. You don't even have to tell the story of millions of trans women. You will just have to tell your story. And if you don't have the energy to tell this person about your story just because of his misconception, block, delete, move on. That's it. Plain and simple. I mean, as what Paulie said, why do you have to waste your time dealing with these people knowing that they see you like this? Again, it's not your fault that you have this misconception, and nor it's their fault. But of course, there are people who do it intentionally. But for the sake of dating, when it comes to online dating, girl, if you are talking to this person and if he's giving you right away these misconceptions, if you have the energy to tell your story that you are not one of these ladies, then go for it. If you don't have the time, again, block, delete, move on. That's just it.
The moment you feel like a simple feeling of like, this person is disrespecting me, probably he's not really. The moment you go into that 50-50 thinking of probably this person is disrespecting me or not, the person is clearly disrespecting you point blank. Girl, we're like 8 billion in the world. Don't waste your time over one person and lose your mind over that. Move.
What I do now, because ever since I started being vocal about advocacy for our community, I think with men, I would approach conversations like with patience and also showing some empathy, and also the willingness to listen to their perspectives as well, while also asserting my own personal experiences. So then they'll be more, you know, hopeful to understand, and also hopefully to come to, you know, acceptance. But then again, if it goes to like, you know, like there are men who just like, you know, like they labeled you, then yeah, like bye. I guess. Bye, Felicia.
The key takeaway from this is that you really have to know your worth. I know how you really need to know yourself, because I know how difficult it is to go through social pressure. I know how difficult it is to feel that you belong. Because knowing our history, we felt invalidated from the very beginning of our lives. The whole thing really resonates into the idea of creating what trans women image should be. And for some reason, social media, mainstream media have been putting us in one box, and that needs to be changed.
Yes.
In order for us to break those misconceptions.
I think now we live in 2024. We have our own voices. So what I would say to all our trans sisters, raise your voices, like share your narratives. Like that's why I love this dialogues that we're doing, because the more we share our stories, the more people will hear what we actually experience. Because if we don't share our experiences, this will never stop. This will keep going and going. So
exactly.
Yeah, so definitely share your voice. If you can't share it on your social media, share it to your friends, share it to your people that you can trust. Like, just share. The more you share, the more I think it, you know, it becomes like more out there. Like they're hearing like what we experience.